for Dr. J.
Where Reiner is putting on his socks.
Yeah.
And because what he was doing, he was putting a sock on and then putting a shoe on and then putting the other sock and the shoe on. They hadn't rehearsed, or they'd rehearsed it, but Carol wasn't really paying attention to him. So that's how Rob Reiner puts on his socks and shoes, right? So right in the middle of it, Carol Connor stops and looks at him and says, "What are you doing?" Rob Reiner's like, "I'm putting my socks on." That was not scripted. That happened for real.
Oh my God.
And they left it in because it was perfect. Like Carol Connor didn't, he slipped out of character, but it was so ridiculous that it stayed in character, if it makes sense. So I remember that story. I thought that was hilarious. And then the other story is the moment when he walks in after Suzanne Summers has had the miscarriage. They've lost the baby.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
And all
awful.
of a sudden, Archie Bunker becomes human. That moment. Because he feels her heartbreak.
It's a great show.
It is. It's a
Because
wonderful
he's
show.
irredeemable.
Yeah.
I mean, he's awful.
Yeah.
And then you see Carol Connor go on to make In the Heat of the Night, and it's like, wait a minute, I thought you were a bigot.
Yeah.
It turns out you're okay.
You're okay.
Because the actual actor was a good guy.
He was a great guy. Carol O'Connor was amazing.
Is he dead?
Yeah. Oh, Jason. The man was pushing, 80
That's true.
in the 90s, right?
That's true, but it doesn't feel like he should be dead. He's one of those people who should never die.
Right. Dick Clark, speaking of Dick Clark.
And my microphone?
He tried. I swear to God, we're going to look for him. I'm going to find him.
They're probably costly.
They probably are.
But I wouldn't mind holding one of those. The little Bob Barker thing going on.
Right.
Don't forget to spay and neuter your pets.
Yes.
What is it with that? Why was that your final message?
Is the price right now, Bob?
That's good times.
Oh my God, that movie. Okay, Jupiter and I found over the weekend on YouTube. Please go find this, it's hilarious. Happy Gilmore recut as a murder film. It's called Happy Murder.
Does it actually work, the recut? How long is it?
It's like 2 minutes. It's like a trailer for a murder film called Happy Gilmore. That's what it is,
God.
Happy Gilmore. It's like one, you killed the greatest golfer ever. And it cuts to Adam Sandler. He had it coming. Oh my God, it's so good.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how, but I think we were shaped by these shows.
Yeah.
I don't know how they shaped us. I don't know if that's why we're so screwed up.
Well, and you mentioned this the other day when we were first talking about this. It wasn't just them; it was the reruns.
Mm-hmm. This generation, these younger and millennials too, right? I don't think they grew up on reruns the way we did. Our humor is weird, and I think it's because we're a mix of everything from Mary Tyler Moore, Hogan's Heroes, and then when they started doing reruns of MASH in the 80s, it didn't take them long to do reruns. Our humor is weird, and you wonder why it's inappropriate. Because everything we watched
was it appropriate?
Oh my God! And now
you got spunk, Mary. I hate spunk.
But now it gets us into trouble because we seem insensitive. But this is what we were raised on.
Well, okay, so it goes to the R word. Retarded.
Yeah.
We grew up. I don't think we talked about this before. I don't know if we talked about it on this podcast, but growing up, for us, the word retarded did not mean somebody who had some kind of disability.
No.
It meant you were being stupid. or the thing that you were looking at was so weird and out of place, it was retarded.
Yep.
You know, kind of like gay.
Yep.
When you say, you know, something's gay, it's not homosexual.
Yep.
It's just out of place.
Yep.
It's weird.
I would say that's a pretty accurate description of what the words mean.
Mm-hmm. But you know, that's not PC anymore.
No.
So when we say it, we get in trouble.
Yep.
And the other thing is they don't look at context.
No.
How we're using the word.
And I don't use them, and I haven't used them in a long time.
I wish I could say the same.
Uh,
I think I used gay last night.
Probably did. That would make sense.
That was gay.
Uh,
My friend mentioned something, and I said, well, that's just gay.
Your friend. I think, yeah.
My acquaintance.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, I remember being shaped by them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I was shaped by them aside from my humor being just so, and I don't get in trouble with my humor being inappropriate because I'm very careful when I share it. Oh, I know you do.
What did I say today? Did you yourselves?
Oh, God. Yeah, that was... So we're talking about an anti-Semitic poet, and I told the students, I'm like, it's just, he doesn't like Jews, kids. And then, of course, Brian decided to say something so culturally insensitive.
Yes.
And so inappropriate that I didn't know what to say afterward. I'm like,
do not look at the man behind the curtain.
I'm at a loss. Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
That's what I heard as I was going back down the hallway. Do not pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
We are, I don't know, I don't want it to turn into a Kids These Days episode, but things are radically different, and
Yeah.
we've officially hit an age where the world does not make sense to us anymore.
Yeah.
And that is weird.
It is weird.
And again, it's that lens from these old shows where you could get away with, they weren't doing it to be insensitive. A lot of these jokes were designed to make you ask hard questions, hence All in the Family, which is nothing more than forcing Americans to say, let's talk about race.
Yeah.
Because I saw it last night on All in the Family. Let's have that conversation.
Well,
Or-
look at Cheers.
Yeah.
That was their MO. They talked about a lot of really racy things. Let's talk about casual sex. Let's talk about alcoholism.
Yes.
Let's talk about homophobia. That one episode where they find out there's a gay man in the bar and they don't know who it is. And it's this dude who's one of the most masculine guys in the bar. And Sam knows who it is, and he lets them play along. Because the dude's like, let it go. And so Sam does. He lets it go. And he makes them all look like fools.
That's a powerful moment.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about that episode.
Yep. Very strong episode. Let's talk about mental illness. I mean, fuck. Frasier.
Yes.
That whole character is designed to make us talk about mental illness at a time in the 80s when we didn't buy into it.
And maybe you can't make a direct link between that show dealing with it and the fact that we're comfortable with it now, but I think there's got to be some connection.
Something there.
That it's now okay. Like even in the early 2000s, and I'll go ahead and out myself because why not? I have bipolar disorder. I mean, you didn't talk about that shit. You hid it. When I was a kid, I was mentally ill, we think. I was never quite well. My mom would tell people, this is what she said, Jason has an artistic temperament. This is how she decided to frame it. Because it sounded better than saying, yeah, Jason's nuts. He's just crazy. You didn't frame it that way.
No.
Or you didn't talk about it. And these shows said, no.
We need
These
to
are
talk about it.
conversations we have to have.
I mean, you can even go, this is the crazy thing when you look back on it. You can go into Seinfeld.
Yeah. It's all there.
It's all there. They're doing it in the most absurd way possible, but they're talking about some deep shit.
Yes.
Friends.
Oh, Friends did too. But now we regard these shows as being insensitive.
Yeah.
But they're not insensitive.
No.
They're very sensitive to the issues, which is why they're addressing them in the first place.
Yeah.
The idea, and it's the same with literature, the idea is to make you have the conversation
Yeah.
that we clearly weren't ready to have.
Yep.
The problem I see now is I'm not sure that TV is as edgy as it once was, because they're too busy trying, to keep from making a mistake and getting taken off the air. So I don't know that TV has the power that it used to have.
No.
Because we can't have those conversations anymore.
No, the conversations that we're having now are one-sided, and the rules are dictated by how sensitive you can be without really broaching the subject. It's weird.
How do you ever have the conversation?
You can't. In fact, it's not a conversation. It's a one-way street now.
I don't know.
You can't have an Archie Bunker now.
No.
You can't have a Sam Malone.
No. The womanizer.
The womanizing bartender.
Alcoholic.
Yep.
He was an alcoholic, right?
Yep. He was in recovery.
He was a bartender who was an alcoholic.
No, and there's one episode where Diane asks him how it works, and he explains it. He says, this is actually the best way to keep me from drinking, because I see it. The logic he uses makes sense.
Yes.
But you can't have him on TV now. He would never. We can't have a Barney character now.
No. No. No.
Barney
no Barney
from
Stinson.
How I Met Your, yeah.
Yeah, no Barney Stinson. No. And that
Can't
wasn't
have
that.
a Columbo.
No. And that wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't.
Well, Columbo is a long time ago, but
Yeah.
but frickin', I mean, Barney Stinson. This is the 2000s.
You can't have a monk. You would not be able to get away with Monk today.
Because they think you're making fun of people with OCD.
Yep.
Well, they kind of are, and they're dealing with a hard issue, and they're making it funny, but it's still a hard issue.
It's a hard issue, but you also start to understand that lifestyle.
Yes.
You start to understand that anxiety.
Wasn't his brother a hoarder?
Yeah.
The whole family has mental illness issues.
Yeah.
And it dictates everything they do. And why can't we do that again?
Yeah.
Why is this shit not allowed anymore?
I don't know.
Because these shows dealt. They came around at the exact right time.
Mm-hmm.
They came around when we desperately needed them, and now we need them again.
Yeah.
Now they're still on air.
You were talking about WKRP, which is not on air, because you and I both have tried to find it. We cannot find that show to save our lives.
No.
We couldn't have a KRP now.
Oh no, that one would be canceled yesterday. That show would be canceled yesterday. Because again, they're dealing with things that you're not supposed to talk about. That people like this are real. We can't pretend they're not. There are Archie Bunkers everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they expose just how ridiculous these things are. What they say is racism is real.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about it and let's fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And TV is not in a position where it can fix shit anymore.
Yeah.
Or movies.
Right.
Unless they're indie flicks,
Mm-hmm.
who don't have to worry about selling, about selling tickets because they're never going to be popular. But the big producers aren't going to take risks. They're just not. And when they do, it's not really a risk. It's about being as politically correct as possible.
Yeah.
Now we're just trying to shock people, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. But I'm glad I was around when they were still on.
Well, okay, so the trend right now is to be as diverse as possible, which I get, right? But what they're not doing is they're not focusing on how we get to the diversity.
No, that's not even a part of the conversation.
It's just, we're diverse, period.
Look at
Get
us.
over it.
Look at us.
Okay, but look at the real world. The real world does not mirror that.
No.
How do we get there? That's the more important conversation we need to be having.
Yes.
How do we get there?
And that's what made these shows so great, because they show you the roadmap, and the roadmap is the conversation.
Yep.
I saw this great thing last night. Oh yeah, I was watching that. What do you think? Have the conversation.
Yeah.
But now the conversation gets you in trouble. Now you can't even have the conversation. The conversation is off the table. But there are plenty of people who don't buy into the current agenda, for better or for worse, and those are the people who need to be watching these shows and saying, oh my God, and a lot of them probably miss the point of Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
But it starts the conversation. And now we're in a point where the conversation itself, if you ask the wrong question,
Yeah.
even if you're trying to be open-minded and sensitive
And clarify.
and clarifying, can get you in trouble.
Yeah.
So my nostalgia, if it's real nostalgia, because nostalgia is longing for a past that never existed.
Yeah.
My nostalgia is for the conversation.
Yeah.
When I started teaching, I didn't worry at all about having the conversation because I knew my students needed to have it.
Yeah.
Now I'm not sure how to broach the conversation. Is it okay for me to have this conversation? Am I taking a risk by having this conversation?
It was funny because today I was talking to one of your students and one of my students.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about what I've gotten in trouble over the years.
Oh, you told them.
I told him a couple. I told him about the creationism.
Oh. Write the fucking essay. I heard that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I told him about that one. So I kind of deserved that one.
You were right.
I was right, but I didn't handle myself the best way. Oh, God, the look on her face. She was Brian. She just did this. Brian.
You cannot tell them.
You cannot tell them to just write the fucking essay. That day she pulled me over in the hall. Are you teaching creationism?
You may want to contextualize that one a little bit.
So I was teaching Cat's Cradle, which is by Vonnegut. And in the book, he plays with the fear of science that we have as humanity because it messes with our philosophy, right? Science gives you definite answers that then you have to take the philosophy and mold around it, right? When you've had this philosophy for so long, it's hard to do that. So he plays with that. He plays with that fear of science, that fear of finding out the real answer. So they weren't getting it. They weren't understanding what I was saying. So I said, all right, look. So drew a line, it's on a whiteboard, drew a line from one end of the whiteboard to the other. Wrote 13 billion years underneath it. And then drew a tiny little tick mark on one end. I said, that's us. That's how insignificant we are. When you look at the full timeline of science,
Yep.
we're nothing.
Right.
Then I drew a line about this long, wrote 6,000 years, drew a circle around it. I said, according to creationism, we've been here the whole time. We're significant. For 6,000 years, we've been significant. We're going to continue to be significant.
Since the beginning.
Since the beginning. So that is the difference. And what Vonnegut is playing with is that tick mark. Some student went and told the department chair of history department,
Mr. B.
Mr. B is teaching creationism. So of course,
He knew you weren't.
yeah, he knew I wasn't. He called Joanne. He's like, just want you to know, supposedly Barbara is teaching creationism.
And she responded with?
He's not that fucking stupid. And I told him about when I got in trouble for being racist because I taught Ben Folds. And I stopped at the line, y'all don't know what it's like being male, middle class, and white. I said, what is he talking about there? And that girl got up and stormed out of my office and went straight to Joe's office.
You were in the classroom, right?
I was in the classroom and she went straight to Joanne.
She didn't pay attention to what... This is what I'm talking about. Is that song takes a very serious issue and makes it funny.
Yeah.
And makes you engage. And we can't even do that. We can't have that anymore.
No.
Even Ben Folds is
Yep.
not okay anymore.
Well, and to be fair, the common student of our, Joel.
Hi, Joel.
Hey, Joel. In American Lit, after they took the Virgin Suicides away from me,
Assholes.
Rest in peace.
You just crossed yourself?
I did.
Oh my God.
I was doing lyrics there for a while before I switched to Sorkin. And one of the songs I gave them was "Living on a Prayer." And Joel would not let it go that it was Bon Jovi.
He
And I'm
hates
like,
Bon Jovi.
I know, and I'm like, it's not the artist, it's the narrative. Look at what they're talking about, because I would teach Jack and Diane,
Yep.
"Living on a Prayer," and "Welcome to the Jungle," because they're all within a year of themselves.
That's right.
And I'm like, these are the three narratives that we're getting in America. In the Midwest, we're the heartland.
That's right.
On the East Coast, we're looking at job loss. Industrialism is falling apart.
Yep.
All the jobs are shipping overseas.
Yep.
On the West Coast, we're seeing, the Sin City effect, right? Debauchery, drugs.
Yes.
The drug, what do you call it? Epidemic.
Yes.
And of course, if you don't know what "Welcome to the Jungle" is actually about, you ought to read the lyrics. It's a pimp welcoming his new prostitute to LA. And he's explaining the rules. These are the rules that we live by.
And it's an attack on them.
It's an attack. And so all three of those songs are happening at the same time, and I kept trying to explain to him. He didn't care.
Because it was Bon Jovi.
It was Bon Jovi. Didn't care about Mellencamp or Axl. Cared about Bon Jovi.
Hi, Joel.
Hey, Joel. Leave a comment.
Yeah, sorry to throw you under the bus.
Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, so dislike of Bon Jovi aside, it's talking about a serious issue.
Yeah.
It's how do you make ends meet?
Yeah. That's it. I'm trying to remember the line. There's one line. Just leave it there. It's the communal until this thing
starts
wakes
working
up.
again magically.
Yeah, magically. You'll just, there it goes again.
It's like 70 years old, dude.
I know. So just give you, so this lighter, it's got my dad's initials on it. My dad bought this in England somewhere between 1954 and 1959 while he was stationed there. So this very old light, and it still works when we're not running a camera.
It'll work as soon as you turn it off.
Absolutely. It'll probably work later in the podcast. So just all of a sudden, hey, I'll start working again. I think it's my father. I think he's like...
He's haunting it.
Yeah, he's a... You just had one.
Slow down.
Yes. What are we talking about? Oh! I haven't told you this. I switched flavors.
Oh, no.
I've gone from lights to ultralights.
Well, if that's the case, just breathe, right?
Yeah, well...
You're getting just as
part
much.
of the new agenda. Yeah. It was dictated.
Does your friend smoke ultralights?
Yes, they do. Hence, part of the new agenda.
Oh my.
Assholes. I'm going to time it too.
What minute are we on now?
We're 26 minutes in.
All right, so
27.
So 27 minutes in. That's exactly when you'll know.
Oh no! It'll probably be around the 26:30 mark. Sure.
Assholes.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
This from the individual who likes to call Ovechkin oven chicken. Best nickname.
I didn't go there.
Best nickname of all time.
Apparently, Nick knows it too.
Are you serious? So she didn't invent that?
No.
Oh, that's disappointing. I was hoping that was
chicken.
hers.
No. So supposedly, I gotta find footage and show you, so you'll be mad.
Oh, I'm sure I'll be pissed. But I don't hate anybody. I have no room in my heart for hate.
Right.
I love all people. I'm saying that because I'm within proximity of my church. And
Jesus Johnson.
Well, you're supposed to love everybody.
Jesus Johnson.
Even if you don't like them.
That is
Jesus
what I'm gonna fucking call you from now on. Jesus Johnson.
As long as you can call me Jay for Jesus, I don't care. I know Jesus didn't smoke.
I came up with a really great thing the other day.
For whom?
No, just off the top of my head, Jesus was the reason God turned the fucking car around.
Oh my God. Jesus, take the wheel.
Oh God.
Damn it, Jesus.
Or Jesus was the answer to God saying, "Don't make me come down there."
Too late.
Too late. Okay, that was bad. I'm gonna lose my job, but they're gonna cancel my ass.
I'm waiting for the day when it's not okay to teach the imperfect enjoyment. I mean, you think we've already arrived at that point.
They don't know. That's the beauty of that poem. They don't know. You have to be, what was it, a 17th century British lit scholar.
Yeah, 17th/18th.
Yeah. To know that poem. You got to know the Restoration. If you don't know the Restoration, you're not going to know that poem. You don't know that. If you don't know the Restoration, you're not going to know Orinoco. You're not going to know the Rover. You're not going to know the Country Wife.
Nope.
The Country Wife. You want to talk about risky?
Yeah.
That poem.
And I think.
I mean, how many did she end up sleeping with in that poem?
And I
like
think
4 of them?
I think the thing about it, and this actually ties in nicely to what we're saying about TV, is that it opens up a conversation. How are women supposed to behave? Can women have active sex lives? And the answer, of course, is yes.
Yes.
And it forces that conversation. And it would have been deeply problematic as a text.
Yeah.
For a lot of people. But that's the whole point. Why did John Wilmot write The Imperfect Enjoyment? To start a conversation.
Yeah.
Why do we always blame women?
Yeah.
It's not her fault.
It's not her fault.
I mean, yeah, she's attractive, and that had something to do with it, but I did this. This was me,
Yeah.
not her. It was the man's
More
fault.
specifically,
My penis.
my penis.
That's right.
Of all the women, this is the one you decide.
It makes me wonder where art's going to go, and if we're going to see, and television too, but it's harder for TV, okay? Because TV relies on ratings and sponsorship. Poetry, the arts, rely on no sponsorship, so they can do whatever the hell they want. And I'm wondering, when is art going to start pushing back and saying,
This is enough.
enough, we're done, we're done,
Yeah.
something has got to give.
Something's got to give. All right, so this is my one hope, my one fleeting piece of hope in all of this during this period while we're going through this mess. What was the Restoration? It was a backlash.
Yes.
To what?
It was a backlash to the Puritans.
Yeah, Puritanism.
Yeah.
Right? And look at what we got out of the Restoration.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Okay, so one of the most important pieces, you were bringing up women, one of the most important pieces of the Restoration was they started allowing women to act in the plays.
Yes.
That was the first time it ever happened.
It was amazing too.
It was. All of a sudden, women had the ability to interact professionally on stage. That was major.
Huge.
And you had women writers that were being celebrated. Aphra Behn was celebrated. Alexander Pope picked a fight with her. That's huge.
Huge.
He regarded her as somebody that he could engage with.
Yep.
That had never happened before.
No, women had been ignored.
They had.
Yeah, Pope wasn't like that though. Pope was pretty open-minded.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We never had that before.
No, Pope, it's new. It's brand new.
The Restoration gave us a lot, and then the Augustines right behind him. Pope was later regarded as an Augustine.
That's right.
But they're picking up what the libertines were doing.
Yep. The Wasp of Twickenham, one of my favorite nicknames for anybody. It'll work soon. So you mentioned the Restoration. I'm assuming you're leading up to something like a backlash now.
Yeah, there'll be a backlash. We're going through the Puritan moment. There'll be a backlash. If it's not already forming already. I know so intellectually there's a backlash happening. Weinstein and Hayek were on Bill Maher.
And Bill Maher's obviously got a problem with cancel culture.
Yep.
the guy who gets labeled on a regular basis as being, how is he attacked?
Oh God, name it.
Islamophobia, I think, is one of the terms, and Richard Dawkins gets it too.
Yeah.
No religion, I don't care what it is, should be sacred or safe.
Yeah.
If it's doing something that's questionable, like Christianity has,
Yep.
we have no problem pointing out with Christianity. We should be just as willing to say Islam is doing things that are dangerous.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's in their book is a different matter.
Yeah.
But how it's being practiced in certain parts of the world is scary as hell.
Yeah.
Have that conversation.
How Christianity is being practiced in parts of this country.
Oh my God.
Is scary as hell.
So what's the difference is my point. Because he goes after Christianity too. He goes after Judaism. He goes after all of them.
He goes
all
after
of
the
them.
militant Buddhists.
So you're talking about, so Heather and Brett were both on.
They were on. He had them on his show.
How did it go?
I've only seen a snippet of it. I haven't seen the whole interview.
Was he in agreement with him?
Yeah. He was respecting them. It's really interesting. They are so the progressives are going after Jordan Peterson like you would not believe right now.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with everything Peterson says, but he has a right as a human being to say what he says.
Well, I think he's important. Like, I disagree with almost every word that comes out of his mouth.
Right.
But he's important because again, like these TV shows, he forces a conversation. We need as many people as we can get to force the conversation.
Yes.
And to conflate him with someone like Alex Jones is insulting.
Yeah, it is.
Alex Jones does not foster conversation.
No.
He's just rage.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson is not rage. Richard Dawkins is not rage.
Not rage.
Bill Maher, well, he's a little angry. he has a bit of a rage problem, but he helps to foster a conversation.
Yeah.
Because he's an intellectual. And if we shut intellectuals,
So is Peterson.
So is Peterson.
He's a fucking psychology professor.
Yes. If we start shutting down people who are trying to foster the conversation, what's the result of that?
The weirdest thing that has happened in the past 6 months is my son specifically asking for 12 Rules for Life, which is Peterson's book.
Right. Which you got him.
And I got it for him for Christmas. I was like, okay. And when he opened it, I said, there you go. And he's like, cool. I said, I got to ask, why? Why did you ask for that book? Because I know he doesn't like him. I know he doesn't like Peterson at all. He said, because you taught me to read everything. You taught me to read the other side. I want to see what he says.
Good for him.
I thought, oh my God, my son actually listened to me. One time in his life, he listened to me.
The younger one?
No, this older one. Yeah. Oh no, the younger one listens to everything I say. I could say, like fucking toast was falling out of the sky. And he'd be like, okay, Dad, was it jellied?
Is it French?
Yeah. But the older one, oh, he'll argue with me over everything. But that floored me. I was like, oh my God, he heard me.
Yeah.
The one time he needed to hear me, he heard me. That made me feel good.
So we need as many of these people as we can get our hands on, especially right now, just to have the conversation.
And there are a lot of guys out there that are trying to have the conversation.
Plenty, but we need to give them the mic, and we need to have honest debate and disagreement, right? One of the things I like about Richard Dawkins, whose ideas on God I disagree with, I think they're kind of simplistic, but what he's really good at and what I like about him is he will sit down with people with strong religious convictions, including intellectuals, and have a conversation, an open dialogue without getting insulting or rude.
Yeah.
We need guys like that.
Yeah.
And Dawkins has been canceled. Dawkins has gotten into a lot of trouble.
He got into a ton of trouble for something stupid.
I mean, but that's usually the case. Now, I don't know, as bad as some of it is, I think it's not completely widespread. Is that a wasp?
Yeah. No, it was a bumblebee.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm just not cool with wasps. I'll run screaming into the night if I see a wasp.
Do not go gently into that. Good night, Jason.
Run from the buzzing of the wasp.
Rage against the buzzing of the wasp.
I get to teach that next week.
I was wondering when you were going to get Dylan Thomas.
Next week, because I'm going to get in the 50s.
That book. Oh, I meant to bring that book. I was going to bring that book for the podcast today.
What book?
The Anthology.
Oh.
1972?
A gift from a friend.
Yes. The Norton Anthology of Modern Poetry. 1972, first edition. I read from it the other night. I read Chicago. I don't care. That poem rocks balls, man. That thing is awesome.
It's a great poem.
I read some Modern too.
So I got pretty drunk this weekend.
I did not.
I know. I drank enough for both of us, and I was talking about some of the issues we talk about. And my 16-year-old standing there watching his father get completely tanked said, "Dad, I think it's not as bad as you think." I said, I think some of what you're seeing are individual instances, but by and large, a lot of people don't buy it." And
he's right.
And he's not wrong. It's just a question of who has the bullhorn.
Who's got the bullhorn?
Or microphone or whatever. I mean, and that's the part that makes me nervous.
The Dick Clark microphone.
Yeah, the Dick Clark microphone. It's not everywhere. It's not rampant. It's most people have no interest in cancel culture. It's just those who do are very loud.
It's because it's retarded.
Oh well, I didn't say that. That wasn't me. I'm just going to sit here and drink my coffee. It's
stupid.
So that encourages me.
Yeah. Well, and again, you and I have talked about it. This is a millennial culture.
And it's a blip.
Yeah.
It's
because the kids behind them don't buy into it.
No. The problem will take care of itself. I don't think we're going to have to do anything to do that. It's like any other movement. Eventually, it burns itself out.
Yeah.
Modernism did.
Yeah.
Postmodernism burned itself out.
Or did it?
Okay, so let's...
All right, so let's just go ahead and do it.
Think of postmodernism as a hiatus for modernism?
Yeah.
I would tend to agree with that.
But I also believe, okay, so I think, this is my personal interpretation, what we call modernism began with the signing of the Constitution, 1789. Mark it. There's the beginning of modernism.
Well, it's not just that, it's also the French Revolution.
Yeah. That's the beginning of modernism. But it's not modernism. It's Romanticism.
Yes.
Romanticism never died. It changed colors.
Yes.
And I think what we call the high modern was the first break. And the postmodern is the second break. But Romanticism has been there the whole time.
Yes.
Because we look at, so the Enlightenment was muy importante, massive. Because all of a sudden you turn your focus onto, you shift your focus away from divine right as a structural form to divine right as universal. Right? So that everybody has these rights. That's the Enlightenment. You get to Romanticism, okay, how do we engage with it? That individual. We've been talking about the individual now for almost 300 fucking years.
Never went away.
It never went away. Never died. It's been there the whole time.
Postmodernism is a hiatus.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
And what we call modernism is just a continuation. It's not actually modernism. Modernism is maybe Romanticism. Here's how you can think of it. Modernism is Romanticism dealing with modernity.
Yeah.
Because the Industrial Revolution, Romanticism was at its height during the Industrial Revolution. But it didn't understand urbanization that we saw at the end of the 19th century when modernity sweeps in.
Yeah. Maybe.
I think give it time. We're going to relabel everything. Romanticism might become a second Renaissance, a second rebirth,
A Renaissance.
a Renaissance. But I think we're also entering into an honest to God Renaissance. And that we've been in it since the digital revolution.
Well, certainly the world's changed.
Yeah. We see art differently.
We do. Well, suddenly it's more accessible to everybody. Anyone who's got
Well,
an
it's-
internet connection.
It's been accessible. The problem is because of pop art, it's been accessible. But the difference now is that it's lost its cultural capital.
But even high art's more accessible now.
Yeah.
I mean, in that you
Well,
can.
and it's losing its cultural capital.
Yeah.
We don't think, okay, so, and here's an example. We don't think of scriptwriters as being artists, but they're dictating the art right now. They're shifting the way we understand literature right now because the visual medium is gaining cultural capital
Yep.
with more and more TV shows that gain these massive followings. You know, it starts in the mid-90s with Sex and the City, and then you get The Sopranos, and then you get Dexter, and then you get Mad Men, and then you get Game of Thrones,
Yep.
and then you get The Walking Dead, and you get all these, even the sitcoms, the like breakout sitcoms like Big Bang, right? And How I Met Your Mother.
There's art there.
There's a lot of art there.
Yep.
It's in the writing, it's in the dialogue, it's in the way they're delivering those lines. The screenwriters are controlling the art. The poets and the fiction writers are not anymore. They've taken a back seat to the dramatists.
And it works.
It fucking went out. So I think we are. We're seeing a renaissance here.
Well, as long as it fosters the conversation, that's the thing I
Well,
keep
that's-
coming back
yeah.
to. But it's going to have to be something that makes it okay for people to talk again.
Yeah.
That's going to have to happen. And I don't know when that's going to happen. Maybe it already has, and we're just not seeing it because we're too close to it.
Yeah.
And we spend all of our time reading. Well, I mean, all the time reading writers of the past.
Yeah. Well, I'm stuck on the turn of the 20th century. 1880, 1950.
Yeah.
That's my spot.
As a scholar, I'm 19th. As a poet and a reader, I'm 20th and 21st.
Right.
And in terms of literature in the 2000s, literature's just weird. It's gone some pretty strange fucking places.
It has.
And I think they're trying to have a conversation.
Yeah.
But again, is it ever going to be allowed
Well,
again?
there's that novel. I cannot remember the name of the novel, but there's a novel that is done all in instant messaging. Not text messaging, instant messaging.
Right.
Because it was written in the early 2000s. And the entire novel is just instant messages. And I'm sure there's a novel out there that's nothing but emails.
Yeah, I did see a book of poetry with a hashtag on the cover, which makes me think that it's all hashtag poetry.
Yeah. So there's a
That's nifty.
there's a young lady on Instagram, and I'm sure she's not the only one, but she does these very short poems. They're sometimes six lines long, 5-6 lines long, and that's what she posts. And she's got tons of followers, and she's not millions of followers, but yet. But give it time. That's the poetry they're digesting now.
Yep.
And it's a lot of, and it's millennial. It's definitely a millennial audience that's reading this. There's a lot of self-reflection. There's a lot of inspirational kind of deals. I'm not saying it's good or bad.
No.
We're not going to go there.
No.
The aesthetics of it, but it's popular, and that's what they're digesting.
Yeah.
And so you've got that. You've got visual stories. I mean, there are countless YouTube channels where they have 2-3 minute videos that tell an entire narrative, and it's packaged like a pop song. And they're digesting that by the millions. So narrative has changed. There's still the long form narratives.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that with the Avengers. That whole cycle, what's 16 movies? And they're
Yeah.
still going, they're still building on that narrative with those TV shows, the WandaVision and the Falcon.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep. And look at Star Wars, they've expanded.
And some pretty exciting directions too.
Yeah, so the narratives are growing. So you've got this dichotomy happening right now where you've got this outlet or these outlets for these very short, quick narratives, and you've got this other outlet for these very long, drawn-out narratives.
Yep.
And they're digesting both of them. They're taking them both. I don't think we're going to, the way that Amazon and Disney Plus are dealing with TV shows now, where they're releasing a show a week, an episode a week, instead of doing what Netflix used to do, where they would dump House of Cards like all in one day, the entire season right on one day.
Yeah.
I think that's over. I think we're going to come back to the episodic nature of television, which
One a
is
week.
good.
One a week.
Yeah, which is what we need because it slows the culture down.
Well, and we desperately need that. This is kind of the other thing too. In my soapbox is commodity culture. We've always been obsessed with stuff.
Culture of abundance. That's what Warren Sussman called it.
And he's right. But for whom? Not for everybody.
Right.
You know, there's a limit. Yeah, that's loud. No one's
Small
impressed.
penis, anybody?
No one cares. Yeah.
Oh, and he's got like 3 American flags on it too.
There you go.
I'm sure there's a shotgun in there.
Probably. Copy of Mein Kampf.
Because nothing says small penis like a big ass Dodge. All right, go ahead.
You talk about the culture slowing down the culture. It's fast. It's all commoditized or commodified, and it's all instant gratification all the time. What?
I'm gonna get shot.
Nah. Unless your friend owns a Dodge truck, you're okay.
They don't.
But you're set.
Yeah. Ford.
Was it Ford?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. That was a Dodge.
So it's a weird culture, and it filters down into every aspect of life. I want what I want, and I want it right now.
Yeah. Hey, we need to talk to you, man. All right.
We would wrap this up.
Yeah, we're at 50 minutes.
All right.
So what do you think?
I think we're screwed. That's my last word.
That's your last word. We're screwed. I don't think we're screwed. I think we're just going to have to weather the storm.
Yes.
What are we going to call this one?
The one about nothing.
The one about nothing. I'm the barber. That's Dr. J. Peace.
Now it's time for Dr. J.